Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to my 12-week Christmas countdown series for 2023. Now in episode 1 I'm going to show you how to make a wreath using the Joy of Noel dies, and this is the coordinating stamp set. If you purchase them together there is a saving of 10%. Now you'll find this on pages 28 to 31. It's a bumper suite because it actually has 2 bundles in it. So one is called the Joy of Noel and the other one is the Christmas Classics bundle. I'm also going to be using the papers from this suite, and these are the specialty papers called Joyful 12 by 12 30.5 by 30.5 centimeters specialty designer series. There are 4 sheets, 2 each of single-sided designs. And then there's this one, which is the normal Joy of Christmas 12 by 12 designer series pack. There are 12 sheets in this pack and you get 2 each of 6 double-sided designs. And the one we're going to be using is this one. The dies we're going to be using from this set is the pine needle one, the word Noel, and this die which actually has double-ended leaves so that you can use it in either direction and it won't look odd. I'm also going to be using the deckled circle dies. There are 14 dies in this pack and they start from 1 inch in diameter being the smallest and goes up to 5 3/4 inches at number 14 being the largest. So the next one is 1 3/8. The next one along is 1 3/4. They go up in 3/8 inches, so that's 1 centimeter. So the ones we're going to be using today are number 5 and number 6. Now the reason I've taped it together is so that the gap between the wreath will be equidistant all the way round. To save time, I've already pre-die cut my wreath. So this is the base. You can save that for something else. With the pine needle die, you need 9 to make up the wreath. I've already die cut them and put glue dots on the back, which is the largest part here, already on glue dots. You need a piece of gold foil that will fit this die, and this roughly measures 1 7/8 by 2.5, and in metric that's roughly 6.5 by 5 centimeters. Before I die cut my gold foil, I put adhesive sheet behind it so it's all ready to stick down. Because you're working with foil, you don't really want glue because glue tends to smudge on foil. The other tip about working with foil is only cut as much as you need, because when you have a heavily marked or cutting plate, it does mark the paper. So you want fairly clean top plate. So I'll just run that through this machine so that it's ready when I need it. I'm going to leave it like that because then it's easier to work while the die is still in situ. The inks I'm using are cherry cobbler and also the Simply Elegant trim to tie a gold bow, which I've already done to save time. These are the Take Your Pick Crafters tool tips. So you've got this double-ended pick. This is longer and thinner than the ordinary pointy tip that comes with the Take Your Tool Pick. Then you've got the rotary blade, which you attach to the thicker end to the screw top tip, and you have to remember to engage the guard by having that pushed up so you don't cut yourself. That guard protects the blade. I actually have this permanently on this Take Your Pick tool with a spatula. And then of course you've got the craft knife, and again that is a screw top which fits onto the top of the Take Your Tool Pick. I put mine in a box like that because I don't use it all that often, but it keeps it together and I don't have to scrabble around looking for it. Now let's run through the cardstock next. This is the card base in basic white thick, and that measures 5 7/8 by 8 1/4, and in metric that will be 14.5 by 21 centimeters and folded in half. Then you have 2 cherry cobbler matte layers, and these measure 3 3/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches, and in metric that's 9.5 by 14 centimeters. Now I'm going to steal some cardstock from inside one of these matte layers, and I've already stamped it lest I forget. I'm going to position that over the letters and die cut it off camera. The sandwich for this is platform 1, the thin die adapter platform 2, and 2 plate 3s. So you have a bottom plate 3, which is usually the marked one. Place your cardstock and your die cutting edge face down, and next put on your top platform 3. You're ready to run it through the machine. Although these letters are die cut in a square, they do separate, and so you can configure your Noel either in a horizontal fashion, vertically if you wish, or as it was designed in a square. How do I spell it? So Noel. So it's up to you. You've got 3 options there. I am grabbing my silicone mat, and I'm just going to put glue on the bottom here in a thin line so that I can, let me see which way up the E goes, this way, because it's adhered to a strip of the joyful Christmas paper. And I'm going to set that aside for it to dry so that these will be repositionable. With Tombow glue, if you use wet adhesive, use it straight away. Once you apply the adhesive to the project, it will stick permanently. But if you allow it to dry, it acts like a post-it note. It will be repositionable. I'm ready to assemble the card. So I'm going to adhere my matte layer first, and to the card front, leaving an even border all round, and also to the inside of the card. Now for matte layer 2, for the front of the card, you need the Joy of Christmas 12 by 12 ordinary DSP pack, and use this wood grain effect. The reverse is this pattern here, and this one is basic white, is for the inside of the card, and both these measure 3 5/8 by 5 3/8, and in metric that will be 9 centimeters by 13.5 centimeters. I'm going to glue this into the inside of the card because I'm not stamping off the card, but it's just for safety. I won't mislay the pieces. And then glue this inside and glue this one outside. This is the joyful 12 by 12 specialty paper with just the single-sided design. So I'm going to cut 1/2 inch by 3 5/8 inches. and 3 5/8 inches, so that's half. Scoot it over 2 notches, that's 3 5/8. Now, because this is designer series paper, it's not rigid enough, so if you glue it onto here and press down, it will show all the lumps and bumps. So if you cut another strip just slightly smaller, so 1/2 inch, scoot it over, say 1/16 of an inch, so that it won't show from the front. And this is 3 5/8, so let's say I'll do it 3 and just shy of the 3 3/8. Put glue on this and place that on top so that it's inside and it won't show. Okay, set that aside so I don't lose it. Now, as you can see with the mini dimensionals, the sides of the dimensionals is quite wide, so I'm going to steal some, or cut a thin strip to go round the back of the circle frame. I want it fairly slim. I'm not going to put this onto the card yet, because even if the shape might be different when I've completed it. Now you see each die cut has a slight curve, so we'll start from here, and we want to make sure that this pine needle follows the circle round, okay? So the next one will be there, and that will tuck underneath, and we want to line up that pine needle with the circle base. I find it easier to work with it in the air, because then I can make sure that I actually am gluing the glue dot to the wreath and not to the work surface. Now you can remove the double-sided tape on the bottom. Now I'm going to need a double stack of dimensionals. I'm going to use the mini dimensionals, and then a double stack for the other side. I want that in the opposite corner. Right, so I need a double stack of dimensionals by the O. Which side is the O? That's the bottom, and the O faces that way, so it's on this side. And you want to make sure that the dimensionals don't show. Is it visible? And if it is, you just want to trim it off before you put it down. Just check it's this side. So now I can put my O on. You want only to glue the bottom of the O onto the designer series paper, and you don't want the designer series paper to show above the middle of the O. So the only place that will actually have dimensionals will be on the E and the O, because the pine needles will prop the N and the L up. Cut a narrow strip, cut the strip in half, take one side off and stuck it one on top of the other. That's a sticky side. Now take off this bit and put that strip along here. Next I'm going to put the Noel, and lastly the N. No, spacing's not right, so I'm going to have to shift all of these up a tiny bit. Remove the backing paper. We can pop this onto our card front. Tuck that in. And voila, there's your Noel. Now I'm going to take my crafter's tip tool with this hook here. Can you see that? And I'm going to take the backing off the double-ended leaves. Remove the die. These are the bits. Make sure you've got 5 there, so you know that you've removed all of this backing from there, and then dot them around evenly. Just pop a glue dot on there, roll it so that it doesn't come off, and I'll just stick it on here. Lastly, for the inside of the card, just a bit of simple stamping with this sprig. So there's my prototype, and there's today's card finished. I hope you've enjoyed episode 1, and I'll be back with more inspiration next week. Don't forget to share and give me a thumbs up if you like it. Thanks for watching. Bye.